Hello YouTube, and I'm back. Sorry for the long break. It's just been kind of hectic here. So I'm going to do a very late review of Druck Season 6. Sorry for the long wait, but I'm here now, so let me go ahead and review it. So this season was about Fatou Jallo. We kind of figured that it'll be her season after Nora's, considering all the clues we've been getting, but it was great that we immediately got her season. I think she was one of the first characters that really popped off when the new gen premiered in Nora's season. So my overall thoughts on Fatou's season is that I really enjoyed it. I was so happy that Druck did a season about a black lesbian because when it comes to women of color, especially queer women of color, we rarely see that, especially when it comes to black women. And also, if you know the scam verse, with Scam Austin, we had a hopeful chance of having another black lesbian season with Shay, but unfortunately that show got canceled by Facebook Watch, and that really let me down. But I'm happy that we got it with Fatou, and that I think it was great to have another season focused on a gay character that did not have to have them be a coming out story. I personally think those stories are still important because now we're discovering different sexualities, different gender identities. I still think coming out stories are valuable, but it's nice to see a character who's already out, who's already accepted, and we don't have to dig into that anymore. Not every single person's story is that, so great on that. And when it comes to development of Fatou's character and what she's struggling with, I'm actually happy that this season had low stakes. Not saying that it had high stakes to the extreme, or it had to, be plot driven, or had to be drama every single where, which it does not need to be. I'm happy that over the course of the season, when it comes to Fatou's individual journey, is kind of her discovering, when it comes to her schoolwork, it's not, oh, she's quote unquote stupid. It's that she has dyscalculia, which she gets diagnosed with towards the end of the season. And I'm happy that finally a scam season focused on a mental disability about, people who either have dyscalculia or dyslexia or any other form of mental disability that, certain teachers cannot recognize, or even the person who has it cannot recognize. And it's her pressure, it's her shame. And she feels like, oh, how did I, get this high in school, getting, higher grades if if my regular grades are not that good. So I'm happy that, she was able to, yes, it was a rough journey for her. She, like I said, she had trouble with her schoolwork. She had a presentation that did not go well, and she thought that she was going to be held back at one point. She got like a blue letter from her teacher, basically informing her that her grades were not good. And I'm happy that, Fatou represents people who do have mental disabilities, to, not be ashamed of it, and that there are people within the school system who can help them, guide them through that, and that they're not stupid, they're not dumb. No one is stupid and dumb. Everyone has a different speed on how they learn. People got, certain people take longer than others, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I love that the season spoke to that when it came to Fatou. Now, when it comes to her and QB, I loved how they developed their relationship. Towards the end, it got kind of weird during episode 8, where I understand the big kind of obstacle for them both is communication because of their own insecurities. But it got a little weird there. I feel like for a plot with some of the scam seasons, there has to be a hell week, what does kind of, drag it down. But for me, personally, to me, the drama there when it came to them towards the end was not as big or as messy as some seasons could be when it comes to plot lines like this. But I also liked how we learned a lot about Kumi this season. She's not just the ice queen. She does have a soft side to her. She just felt like she had to act closed off because how certain guys have treated her when they tried to date her. Her family came from Vietnam to Germany to, get her an education and do all this, stuff. A lot of pressure on her too of doing that. She's trying to come into her own bisexuality Whereas Fatou is already comfortable in her being a lesbian, Kumi is, the first girl who Kumi has a crush on and been with is Fatou. And she's just coming into her being bisexual. And I love how they have her talk about that. And I think it's so great to finally have a WW couple that there's no white person in there. They're both girls of color and both, different development when it comes to sexuality. And I love that they had her talk about that, her pressure and everything, and how she feels that certain people view her. And I just love how they developed that with her that season, and that we got to know more about her. It's kind of rare in scam seasons to learn so much about the love interest of the season, but I love how they individually handled her character, and her and Fatou together. I think both actresses have great chemistry. I've been cheering for them since season 5, and they planted some great seeds there for them, and I love that. And I love how their relationship developed, them be able to communicate more, to be more in sync, and to finally feel secure with each other and safe with each other. Like when they did their first time, I love how consensual it was. It was them communicating back and forth. Are you all right? Do you want to do this and whatever? Because, it's Kumi's first time, and I love how they did all that with them. Now, when it comes to certain subplots, I love how they inserted Ava into this, considering, her and the Instas have not had a good history. She was bullied when she was younger. She had to move all the way to Alaska, then move back. It was really a trying time for her. And so, she doesn't like Kumi. That was kind of a testy time between her and Fatou. And then when it came to her and Milan, when it came to the whole race thing, when Milan tried and failed to understand Ava and what she's going through when she protests about, these things that us Black people go through. And Milan is trying to bring up this triggering stuff. And, it's too much for Ava to handle because Ava is a teenage girl like the rest of y'all. And I loved how they broke down the Cash Queens, because it's like, yes, it's like for them to go through these fights or to go through these really hard-hitting disagreements, it shows, we miss them being these, nicer than great friends, but you have to go through growing pains to even get stronger. And I love that. I feel like with the OG crew, like with someone like the remakes and with Druck with the OG crew, no one was ever called out directly for anything. I feel like certain things are swept under the rug. I mean, you can attribute that to Scam OG and how they portrayed the Girl Squad, and that kind of leaked into some of the remakes. But with this, with the Cash Queens, new generation, I like that they didn't sweep certain things under the rug, and that they put it out there being like, this is our problem with each other. They had that whole friendship breakup, which was heartbreaking. Then they slowly, came back together, apologized, and moved forward. I mean, these girls at that time and that place only were friends like 4 months, and they came from different walks of life. So, of course, they're not all going to, hold hands and be friends and never have any problems. I love that we saw that, so they can grow stronger. So, certain things were elongated too much, of course, like I said, about the Hell Weeks. You have to have that in a scam season, obviously. It does kind of hinder certain character moments and character development, but to me personally, it was not too big to ruin the whole entire season for me. That's my only criticism, is that last little bit, and I wish it could have got a little bit more of Fatou's family. But for overall what this season was supposed to hit on when it comes to Fatou, most importantly, I feel satisfied. And with her relationship with Kumi and her relationship with the Girl Squad, I feel satisfied for what this season was and what was the hitting points, the big points, and everything. So what are your thoughts on Fatou's season? Are y'all ready for season 7 and maybe hopefully 8? Leave your comments down below, and bye YouTube.